Hey guys, another great day here. So I have yet to go through the S10 and look it over and see what I need, but from when we looked at it on the pre-purchase inspection, there's a couple pieces that I seen it was missing and a couple things that need addressed. So I don't always frequent this side of town, but I had to come here today, so I threw some tools in the truck and we're gonna be here over at the Pull Apart. It's a do-it-yourself, pull your own parts, I guess scrapyard or junkyard. So it's like a U-Pull-It. The truck's missing skid plates, so I want to see if there's a early S10 here with the aluminum skid plates. I can get a whole set of aluminum skid plates off of it. And I checked the inventory at this location. They have 2 crew cabs here in stock, or in their inventory. And I want to get under it and check out how the cross member for the carrier bearing is set up on a factory truck, where the crew cab that I purchased, right where they did their frame splice and extension, they did a DIY cross member, and I think that might be part of the driveline vibration that we're experiencing. So I just want to kind of compare, look at that, and see if there's anything else that catches our eye. You know, there's a pretty nice brush guard on one of these trucks in the photo. Granted, it's been on the lot for a month and a half now, so that might no longer be here. But who knows, that might come home too. So we're going to get in here, get checked in, get out to the yard, and see what kind of treasure we can find. All right, guys, we just got into the yard. Raymundo decided to join us today, so it's should be a fun and exciting experience. Woo. Last time I was here was actually a couple years ago, and all the inventory used to be broken up into sections by like make, model, manufacturer, so you didn't really have to walk the whole yard. But looking now at this sea of vehicles, they changed it. You got like a truck section. Look, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Ford, Dodge. That sucks. This whole center section used to be just Chevys. Fords were off to the side, Dodges were in the back. So it looks like we got a lot more walking with this big busty butt tool bags today. Let's see what we find. All right, so we came across the crew cab here, which is why we came. It's been pretty scavenged already, but I stuck my head under here to see if there's a cross member for a carrier bearing, and on this truck, as you can see, there's not, just one drive shaft. So I'm gonna try to find an extended cab, because that's what I think my truck is based off of. Well, hypothetically speaking, I think that's what it's based off of. Who knows? So either it has that and it's going to work, or it doesn't, and then we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and measure drive shaft angles. Ugh. All right, guys, I was just getting ready to move on to the next truck, and I noticed something hanging out the door. This truck had the manual cable pull front diff lock actuator on it. So that's our first junkyard score. It wasn't even hooked up to the diff. It's like they started the project and just zip tied it up in there. So it was really easy to remove. Let's see what other kind of treasure we could find. All right, guys, we're back in the truck. I am freezing. My back is wrecked from hauling that tool bag around that whole yard. It's completely disorganized from how it used to be. The only treasure we found today was that 4-wheel drive actuator pull cable. But Ray mentioned that his friend still works at the junkyard like a block away. So it's an old school junkyard. We're gonna stop there, say hi. We haven't been to that yard in 15 years plus, and see if they have any treasure. Well, guys, unfortunately that was a bust. This is one of the older yards here in I guess the Cleveland area. They've been in business for I don't even know, 60, 70 years, and just shows you the change of times with you know, trying to compete with internet part sales. There's like 5 cars in their yard. All their inventory buildings are empty. It's definitely not what it used to be. So it's a bust for us. They're barely hanging on, doing some scrap. So I didn't even really want to talk about the yard, but I figured I had to give you a little update since I mentioned we were coming over here. It's just terrible. You know, I came here in my late teens and early 20s, and it was like a free-for-all. You know, you're loading up you know, whole pickup trucks and just getting a great package deal. You know, the staff's friendly, the owners always tried to take care of you. It was really an experience, and it's just sad to see it go all to the wayside. Well, we had to put the parts hunt on hold for a little while. We got a message from the guy that we bought the S10 from, and our parts that we made additional with the deal, he was able to remove, and he's ready to meet up. So I stopped here at the Pilot. We don't really have a sea of FedEx trucks today. There's just one over there. But we're gonna head an hour and a half down south, which is the halfway point, and we're gonna go pick up some treasure for this S10 build, and I'm really excited. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the other video earlier, but part of the deal was getting a ZR2 front and rear diff. So we got the 8.5 373 diff for the rear, and then the cast iron front diff. So I think that's gonna be I guess a substantial, but you know, it's a pretty good upgrade for the regular S10 here, especially when we start putting a little bigger tires on it. So we're gonna get a few provisions here at the Pilot, and then start heading down south, and then you'll see me again when the diffs are in the truck. All right, well, we just met up with the guy that we bought the S10 from. We got our ZR2 373 rear diff and our 373 front diff. I guess it was my mistake. I thought the ZR2s were iron housing. This one's aluminum out of the Blazer. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Not for what I'm doing. At least it's the correct 373 ratio. And he brought us the roof rack for our S10. So that's pretty exciting. We're gonna run in here and check out Taco John's and see what that place is all about. And we will catch you guys next when we head to the other junkyard. All right, well, we're at another pull-apart location, and thankfully this yard's organized. It's actually broke up and sectioned how it's supposed to be. We got a whole truck island here, right? And then only GM, only Dodge, and then only Ford way on the other side, just like it's supposed to be. Hopefully we'll find some good stuff here. I'm kind of doubtful. They don't really have that many S10s, so we might still be on the hunt. Well, I was just about to give up. We walked the whole yard. We're down to like the last 2 or 3 rows, and came across a Blazer that has all 3 full skid plates on it, aluminum. So now, came back up to the truck to grab this big booty tool bag so we can drag it back in here and pull these skid plates off. I'll be happy with that. All right, guys, well, I got all my shit back here in the yard. I got the big aluminum skid plate, the engine cover aluminum skid plate, and then the giant transfer case one back there. So hopefully they'll come off. Some of the hardware's mismatched and kind of goofy. Hopefully it won't be that bad. I'm gonna try and get after it. All right, guys, we're gonna be wrapping it up here. So we had a pretty successful day, even though it started off being unsuccessful. So we met up with the guy we got the S10 from. We got our ZR2 373 front and rear diffs. I was really hoping that front diff was going to be an iron diff, but for what I'm doing, aluminum's okay. I'm not going to try to swap that in until I decide whether we're going to lift the truck or not, which we may do a key and control arm lift, which then I have to relocate the diff anyways, so that might work out. We went to all 3 pull-aparts in Northeast Ohio. I didn't show you the second stop because they only had a couple S10s and there was nothing really there that, you know, poked out and grabbed me, right? But the last one we went to, last stop, had 1 Blazer and the last couple rows that had all 3 skid plates. So we got all 3 full aluminum skid plates for the truck. Earlier, you seen that we lucked out and got the front diff actuator pull cable. I'm probably going to go back to that first yard and grab the roof rack off that crew cab they had there. You know, mine doesn't have it. I know you just seen that aluminum one in the bed of the F250, but it's broken. So it's one of the end caps is broke. It's missing, so there's no mount for it. I don't really care for the aluminum one. I believe that one that was on that truck at the first pull apart was all black, and I think that would look a lot better. So I'm probably going to go back and get that. We're going to do some research. I'm going to order some parts so we can go through and change all the fluids on the truck here. Bring maintenance up to date. We can get that rear diff in, start cleaning that up, reseal it. On the fence also, if I'm going to try to find like an older GM 8.5 LSD posi unit, the one that has the big Z spring in it, versus that GovLock deal that nobody really likes. If I can find a deal on one of those, I'll probably dump that in there while we have the diff apart and reseal everything. The diff cover is pretty corn flaky, so we're going to change that and beef it up. And we'll take it from there. You know, we'll start getting maintenance current. We had a marketplace find on this sweet little trailer that we could, we're going to be pulling behind the S10 now. So we're going to have a small trailer build going. I'm going to go get some treated deck boards and we're going to box up the sides. I was looking and the bolt pattern on these wheels are 5 by 4.5. I just happen to have 2 Enki wheels up in the attic. So I think the little trailer is going to get some flashy wheels, because I think trying to sell 2 of these isn't going to work very well. I bought these to mount slicks on for a car that I no longer own, and I never mounted slicks on them. So I think that would be a pretty baller trailer wheel setup. You know, you got to kind of make everything your own. The one thing that the Canton pull apart did have that I might look into is there was an S10 Blazer there that had a set of 15 by 8 steel wheels on it. And I believe their steel wheels are only $25 a piece. They had some rust on them. I don't mind wire wheeling them down, and I'll hit them with some gloss black single stage, freshen them back up. But I don't know if I want to go that way yet. We got to see. I know putting the ZR2 diff in the rear is going to kind of like square everything back up. You know, these have a slightly wider track width in the front. So with that ZR2 diff in the rear, it should have an even track now. I just want to get the truck up a little bit. And then we got to reassess everything, right? Like my OCD, you know, we got to look at the splice, how they splice the frame. I can give you a quick sneak peek. You know, I don't really like how they tubed it, but I briefly looked at it and it's really not that bad. But we got to grind out the welds on the verticals and at least run a new bead down there. And then I might, since the rails weren't perfectly square when they did that, my OCD is getting to me. So as you can see here, right, in the bed gap, 2 fingers don't fit. Bottom of the bed gap, I got room. So I may end up shimming the back of the cab up a little bit and the front of the bed back up a little bit so the body line stays level, but it'll straighten that gap up because I'm not cutting this truck back apart. If I end up liking it and it does what I want it to do after we go through this little build, I might do something about it, or I might try to find one that's actually cleaner and just build another one, right? This one's had cab corners and rockers put on it. You know, you can see some of the gaps are kind of funny, you know, like this right here. The doors don't exactly line up great. You know, the door gaps are all kind of wonky. But all in all, it's a really nice truck, and it is really clean for being in Northeast Ohio. So it has that going for me. But I look forward to starting this build series, going through this little truck. I thank you guys for coming along with me and participating. You know, if you have suggestions or products that I should look into, you know, please drop a comment and let me know. I read all of the comments, and I greatly appreciate the support and the enthusiasm. And again, thank you guys. Remember, kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be a decent person and try to inspire someone. And by me getting out here and doing this and sourcing parts and doing what I can, I hope I inspired you. So thank you guys, and you have a great day.